Imagine a government official so greedy, he sold off America's emergency oil supply for a literal suitcase of cash. This wasn't just a small-time crime. It was the biggest political scandal in U.S. history before Watergate. The year was 1921, and the Harding administration was already known for being a bit loose with the rules. But nobody expected the betrayal that was about to unfold in the heart of Washington. Meet Albert Fall, the Secretary of the Interior, a man who saw the nation's emergency oil reserves as his own personal piggy bank. He had his eyes set on a rock formation in Wyoming called Teapot Dome. These reserves were supposed to be kept for the Navy, saved for a day when the country might truly need them. But Fall had other plans for those millions of barrels of oil. He quietly convinced the Secretary of the Navy to hand over control of these lands to his department. He claimed it was for better efficiency, but it was really a setup for a massive payday. Fall turned around and leased the Teapot Dome fields to two wealthy oil tycoons, Harry Sinclair and Edward Doheny. No competitive bidding, no transparency, just a secret handshake deal. So what did Albert Fall get in return for handing over America's strategic resources? Let's just say his financial problems vanished overnight, and he started living like a king. Suddenly, Fall was buying up huge herds of cattle and pouring thousands of dollars into his personal ranch. People in Washington started to notice his new lifestyle, and the whispers began. A crusading senator named Thomas Walsh picked up the trail. He smelled corruption, and he wasn't going to stop until he dug up every last detail of the oil deal. Walsh dragged Fall and the oil tycoons before a Senate committee. The interrogation was brutal, and the truth began to ooze out, piece by piece, under the heat of the spotlight. The American public was outraged. How could a cabinet member sell out the country's defense for private gain? It felt like the entire government was on the auction block. This was the first time a cabinet member had ever been sent to prison for crimes committed while in office. It was a massive blow to the reputation of the White House. President Harding, who was already dealing with a failing health, was devastated by the betrayal of his inner circle. He passed away before he could see the full extent of the ruin. The scandal didn't just end in prison time. It changed the public's relationship with the government forever. Americans stopped blindly trusting their leaders after Teapot Dome. We look back at this as a warning, a reminder that when power is left unchecked, greed will almost always find a way. Was this the moment the U.S. government lost its innocence?